Imagine hatching with a single mission already stamped into your tiny bones. Hijack a spider's future and turn it into your own. No warm-up, no safety net. If you miss the moment, you don't get a second try. You just become part of the forest's background noise. But you weren't built for background. You were built for audacity. Your story begins the instant your shell splits and the world rushes in. You peel out of the egg sac as a sliver of hunger with legs. A first-stage larva so small a droplet could carry you away. Around you, hundreds of siblings wriggle into focus, each one programmed with the same urgent line of code. Find a spider, ride it to the nursery, and cash in on a cradle full of food. It sounds outrageous, because it is, but outrageous is how you survive out here. The forest doesn't hand out easy mods. It hands out chances, and it counts quickly. So you climb. The stem shivers in the breeze. The air thrums with invisible traffic. Something moves through the green. 8 legs, low profile, gliding like a thought across the leaf. You coil, launch, and land on the wrong model. Too small, too spry, not the kind you're looking for. A deft flick of a leg, and you're airborne, tumbling back to the dirt like lint shaken from a sleeve. No time to sulk. You scuttle under a leaf, reset, and get ready to spring again. Because the next shadow could be the right one. And this time, you're not missing. You wait in the hush where stems meet soil, letting your heart beat slow until the whole forest feels like it's breathing in step with you. When the second spider passes, the ground announces her first. Heavier footfalls, slower pace, a belly rounded with tomorrow. That's the one. You leap and land tight to the soft seam where the abdominal plates meet. A lock-in so clean it feels like the spot was designed for you. She doesn't flinch. She doesn't even know you exist. You keep your profile needle thin while she grooms, hunts, and threads quick silk test lines like a seamstress checking tension. Days blur. She picks a narrow gap between 2 rocks, a dry, hidden slot just wide enough for her body. There, she starts the serious work. Layer after layer of silk, until the sack looks like a cloud pressed into a lantern. You become patience. You become stillness. You learn her rhythms without ever seeing her face. The moment the last seam is sealed and she steps away, you slide along her body and slip under the edge of the weave like smoke sneaking through a window. Inside, treasure, eggs packed tight, a future arranged in neat pearls. You pierce one. Warmth floods your mouth. It's not pretty. It is necessary. You take another, then another. Movement slams your side. A sibling got the same idea and got here too. It rams you again, jaws wide, all elbows and panic. You catch it with your little raptorial hooks and twist the way your body somehow already knows. The fight is short and not the kind you boast about. When it goes still, you turn back to the eggs because your clock keeps ticking and you need fuel. Every mouthful buys you hours, and the bill is due in days. You eat until your gut shines with fullness. Then you spin your own soft shelter inside the silk vault and let the world go quiet. Something big is about to happen, and you'll want all your energy for it. But that wasn't the whole story. The world shrinks to heartbeat and breath. While you rest, your body rearranges itself like a room being refurnished in the dark. The long, skinny larva starts resigning from certain tasks. New parts file in to replace the old. The next time you break out of silk, you look like a remix that shouldn't make sense but does. Triangular head with giant eyes, 2 spined forelegs that fold up like pocket knives, and a pair of soft, pleated wings that still remember the shape of the cocoon. You're not a larva anymore. You're a wasp-looking something with mantis arms, a mash-up the forest invented while nobody was watching. You rip the last threads and spill into daylight. It's louder out here, brighter, busier. Below you, ants pour across the bark like a moving scab. They found the torn egg sac, and now they're everywhere. Organized, relentless, operating on rules you were not consulted about. You run, but one catches your back leg and pulls hard. Pain ricochets up your side. Your new front legs answer for you. They spring forward and clamp with an audible click. like scissors finding the perfect seam. The grip works. The ant's hold breaks. You fling it away and bolt, dropping from the branch into a crash of leaves. You hit the ground crooked. One wing is folded under you, a soft napkin trapped under a plate. Nothing tears, but you feel everything. You drag yourself between stones where the air is cooler, and the ground smells like minerals and rain that dried hours ago. You wait until the shadows above stop moving in frantic patterns. When you crawl back out, you climb a low stem and fan your wings. They're still tender, but flight won't wait for perfection. You push once, get a breath of lift, land, reset, push again. This time, the air holds you like a promise. You glide to a flat rock and lock your legs. First flight, messy, brief, successful. You'll take it, and you'll need many more. Because soon nectar won't be enough, and your new arms will want something that fights back. And what happened next would surprise even you. At first, you sip from flowers, because that's the easy option, and your wings are still learning you. Nectar tastes fine. It does not silence the bigger hunger curling awake behind your eyes. Those spined forelegs weren't issued for decoration. They're invoices for future action. You pick your first target, a beetle basking on a leaf like it paid rent for that sunbeam. You creep in at an angle you're sure is clever. Coil the legs, strike, and whiff. Your claws clap 3 millimeters too wide. The beetle drops, vanishes into the maze of stems, and your stomach visits that hollow place where disappointment lives. A moth offers redemption, wings spread in the warmth, antennae pulsing. The picture of ask me to dance. You hover above it and aim your strike to the heartbeat. But the moth sees the shadow of your wings before it sees you. It goes flat, then rockets up with the kind of acceleration you cannot match without turning your flight muscles into angry smoke. You give chase for 5 seconds that feel like 30 and then you bail, because smart hunters know the line between hunger and burnout. You level off, heart hammering, legs thrumming, a little ashamed and a lot hungry. The fix arrives, wrapped in geometry. A web hangs between 2 twigs. A harp of silk strings with a fly stuck right on the center line. No spider on guard. No need to be a hero. You set down beneath the pattern and go statue still. The world holds its breath with you. Then you extend the forelegs and make one clean pull, lifting the fly off the strands without breaking the frame. The threads stretch like they're arguing, then settle. You drop into the grass while the web trembles above like a drum brushed by a fingertip. Seconds later, the owner rushes in, reading the vibrations, searching for a burglar that is now air. You stay motionless until her suspicion cools, and she leaves in widening circles. Only then do you strip the wings and drink the fly dry. The relief is unbelievable. It didn't come from sprinting. It came from thinking sideways. You found a lane that suits your build. But a great trick is never yours alone. Others learn it too. And some of them learned it before you. You start running a route. A broken web under a gnarled root becomes a regular stop, a strange little market where the vendor never checks inventory. Night after night, there's a new gift wrapped in silk, and you leave lighter and more confident, a quiet thief with tidy habits. Until the morning, you're not alone. She's already there, another mantidfly, but older and larger. A survivor you can read like bark. One foreleg ends at a polished scar where a joint used to be. She faces you without posturing, then tears the trapped insect out of the threads in a move so casual, it feels rude. She knows this place better than you do. You hover low, legs half raised, unsure whether to step back or forward. She shifts her weight as if to leave, and that's when something stubborn and new rises in you. This might be a bad idea, but instincts don't always do spreadsheets. You strike. Contact snaps like a dry twig. Your hit shoves her backward into the litter. She kicks up with her good leg and nails you under the body. Your trachea punch out air. Your view smears into strips of green and brown. You roll. She rolls, and the forest rakes both of you with the blunt knives of sticks and stones. Her claw finds your side and twists. You answer blind, snapping toward the motion. Once, twice, until a soft give tells you found face. She recoils, buzzing with the pain of it. There's no victory cry, no clever line. She lifts, wavers, and disappears into the canopy without looking back. You're left with a torn membrane, a puncture that will take time, and food you now have to earn again by lifting it to your mouth through a body that trembles. You feed, you shake, you breathe like someone learning how. Then you stand and discover that the ache has a lesson folded into it. Out here, you don't just find things. You keep them, and keeping is the part nobody put in the brochure. The forest notices your new posture. So does a different kind of interest. And the next encounter won't be about hunger at all. Days later, the weather tilts toward evening, and the light turns gold enough to make dust look expensive. A male mantidfly approaches, not head-on like a rival, but careful, body low and unthreatening, the way peace introduces itself in a crowd. He lowers a small white packet on the leaf between you, a sealed letter with a single purpose. Your body reads it like a native language. It knows the replies. You position yourself, the world tightening to a bright, simple circle. That's when the sky takes a swing. A bird angles down so fast, you hear the air rip a heartbeat before impact. The branch beside you cracks like a bad promise. You throw yourself off by reflex, wings catching air a foot before the ground. The male doesn't find the same luck. One wing folds wrong, and he spirals into the grass, the way leaves do when the wind gets picky. You don't watch what comes next because some things you don't need printed on the inside of your eyelids. You hang under a broad leaf and shake until your nerves remember their jobs. Survival isn't just speed or tools. It's timing. It's mercy from physics. It's the yes or no a shadow gives you. That near miss flips something. You sleep light. You avoid the open. You eat deliberately. You stop showing up at the same web twice in a row because patterns make you predictable, and predictable things get removed. When you finally meet a partner again, it's on quieter terms. A safer angle, more cover. A place with fewer vantage points for anything with talons. The exchange is swift and sure this time. The packet goes where it should. You hold still while the important part transfers, a weird mix of patience and triumph that hums all the way to your wingtips. Inside, the future hooks itself to the present like a zipper ending in a clean seam. And that future wants somewhere safe to start, which means you'll need a mask that works on more than just bugs. You look like a wasp, but look is doing a lot of work there. The paint job helps, the posture sells it. Real wasps carry themselves like they have knives hidden under the table. You try on that attitude. Abdomen curled, legs set, wing angled just so, and practice the rhythm that says, choose another problem. Turns out, you're good at theater. Turns out, you're good at theater. You climb a branch with leaves broad and flat like tiny stages and begin laying eggs in rows so neat they'd impress an architect. Each droplet settles with a precise gap, the line curving subtly to match the arc of the bark. You pause to admire the spacing because sometimes pride is fuel too. That's when the air hums wrong, a bass note under the normal buzz. A wasp circles, spiraling inward. She reads the scene. Your stripes, your stance, your steady refusal to flinch. You meet her gaze without moving. Not a challenge. Just a promise that trouble isn't worth the experiment. Seconds stretch. Then she decides she has better places to be. She lifts, drifts, and leaves you with your heart rattling the inside of your chest. The disguise you wear isn't just paint. It's choreography that buys you a few precious seconds when the forest flips a coin. You finish the clutch, step back, and the joy that rises in you feels ridiculous and perfect at the same time. You built a future and defended it with acting. If that's not astonishing, your standards need a tune-up. Time rolls forward with the lazy confidence of late-season afternoons. The wounds from your earlier fight scab over. Your wings fold clean again. You start flying lower, eyes scanning the ground for tremors, the way practiced hunters do when they're ready to upgrade from clever theft to direct action. Because the costume works, but it won't feed you by itself. And the next meal won't be a lift and run. It'll be a test. And what happens next would have shocked everyone watching. Between two rocks, a web hangs like a curtain left ajar. On its center, a lacewing rests, wrapped in silk, still alive in the way a fire stays warm after the flames go out. No spider in sight. You step into position the way you always do when you're being careful. Under the threads, minding the tension lines, reading the geometry with your eyes, and the air with your antennae. The owner arrives from the far edge in a hard line. 1 second you're alone. The next you're sharing the rock with attitude and fangs. It lunges. You meet its face with your folded knives and catch it in the same motion. Not by luck, but by design your whole body understands. A spine hooks under an eye. The spider jerks backward and flings you across the stone like a bad thought. You hit, scramble, re-aim, and jump again before your fear has time to get dressed. This time you land on top. Your forelegs clamp around the thorax and squeeze. The fight goes from fast to furious to over in a stuttering fade. You hold until the tension drains out of the legs you're pinning. You let go with the economy of someone who doesn't need to write a speech about it. You don't eat there. You never eat where you fight if you can help it. You pull at the silk until the lacewing comes free, then drag the prize into cover, breaking just enough threads to stop the web from tattling on you. You fold the wings aside and drink the body quiet, a simple ritual performed with gratitude and relief. It's not pretty language, but it's honest. You took this meal by force, clean and fast. The way predators do when the timing lines up. You rest afterward with your legs braced and your eyes still sweeping the edges. Confidence arrives like a coat thrown across your shoulders. It sits well for a while. You even test it, floating lower through corridors of leaves, letting your shadow announce you because you believe your mask and your strike can cover your mistakes. And for a stretch, they can. Till they can't be. Because the forest isn't a fan you can charm. It's a ledger that always balances. And what happens next ends your chapter in a single brutal punctuation mark. The afternoon builds itself into a painting. Hot light, still air, a leaf that feels like a clean page. Wound so decaying-eyed, with shruggers and ears and mountains. You take a minute to groom the spines on your forelegs, cleaning out dust and memory. The shape rises from the grass the way trouble does in every good story. Sudden, obvious, and too close. Orange, quick, confident. Bigger than you where it matters. A hornet. You set your pose because habit is quicker than thought. Abdomen curled, wings locked at an angle that shouts confidence, head tilted with that not worth it vibe you've practiced 100 times. The hornet doesn't buy tickets. It doesn't slow. It hits you chest first, a slam that knocks the air out of everything nearby. A narrow blade of pain slides in and out with ruthless efficiency. Your muscles stop answering. Your wings forget the word. Open! You stay in the pose, not because the pose works, but because you can't do anything else. The world narrows into the sound of your own system winding down. Somewhere above, on the same branch where your egg line dries under a skin of air and sunlight, one white dot cracks open. A larva blinks, steps into the heat, and goes looking for a ride. The forest did not give you a tidy ending. It gave you continuity. Your story folds back into the green like a paper plane caught by an updraft and carried on. Someone new will try the same absurd heist you did, because that's what this life is. A series of outrageous bets placed against physics and hunger. Some pay out, some don't. The table stays open either way. So what do you call a life like this? A mashup survival strategy. A heist movie that starts at birth. A performance piece with real consequences. You begin as a boarder on someone else's future. Walk through a private metamorphosis. And step out disguised as something that even experienced hunters think twice about. You learn that the quickest way to a meal isn't always a sprint. Sometimes it's a smarter angle. You learn that keeping what you've taken is its own skill, and that the forest does not grade on effort. You learn that your costume can save you, until it doesn't. And you learn that the point was never safety, not really. It was passage. You got far enough to write your part of the story and leave the next line ready for whoever hatches next. If there's a lesson tucked into all that speed and silence, it's this. Survival here isn't about being the strongest or the flashiest. It's about being just believable enough to buy a few seconds when seconds matter most. It's about practicing the pose, refining the strike, and knowing when to step back into stillness, so the world forgets to look your way. Outrageous. Totally. But that's how the forest signs its contracts, with audacity inked across delicate lives. And that wasn't the whole story. Somewhere not far from your old branch, another tiny creature is gearing up for a childhood even more chaotic than yours. If you think riding spiders is intense, wait until you meet the next contender. The details are unbelievable, and somehow all true.